time for Hannibal Rising on Books to Movies, written in 2006 by Thomas Harris and adapted to film by the same a year later. And it answers the burning question that fans of Silence of the Lambs and Red Dragon have had. That is, what makes a genius, high society man want to eat people? And it starts the same in the book and the movie, with our little boy, Hannibal Lecter, at home with his loving parents and his cute little baby sister in their little, well, it's not little at all, it's a castle in Lithuania. And everything's just wonderful, right up until World War II finds them. They escape to their cabin in the woods, but are a day late and $1 short. The parents are killed right in front of the children, and the children are taken as kind of hostages by these rogue Nazi soldiers. And when things get desperate, his little sister, this sweet little baby, is cannibalized by them. Doesn't get any more awful, horrible than that, but I've been wanting to do Thomas Harris books and movies for a while, because really, nobody writes batshit crazy like him. I mean, where Stephen King is the genius of horror, this guy, Harris, is the genius of completely insane. Right? I cannot wait to do Red Dragon later on, and Hannibal, and Silence of the Lambs, for this one reason. It's the imagination of this writer is boundless, and his writing is amazing. All right, so moving right along with the book and the movie, we know what happens after that whole cannibalism, that horrible moment. Hannibal, we move on to Hannibal being a preteen. He's traumatized and catatonic and living back at his family home in Lithuania that's now been converted into a group home for war orphans. And the way he leaves that orphanage is where the book and the movie start to differ. In the movie, we know that he just, one night decides to run away, finds his way to France, and gets his widowed aunt to let him move in, and she, just wills him out of his catatonic state, with her TLC. In the book, it has more depth, and it makes a lot more sense, to be perfectly honest. I'm not knocking Harris's writing at all, but I just like this better. All right, so basically, still traumatized, catatonic, and having a tough time getting along with people at the group home, until one day his uncle, on his father's side, comes to the group home with his wife, the Japanese lady, Lady Murasaki, his aunt, to pick him up and take him home to live with them, which they do. And while he's living with them, he's plagued by horrible nightmares, and he's still nonverbal. So they take him to a child psychiatrist to help him heal. And this is where a tiny little element of humor is introduced, just to be cheeky a little bit. He's broken out of his nonverbal state by blowing raspberries. And when the psychiatrist really connects with Hannibal, he blows those raspberries so loud that another guy in the waiting room goes, "Wasn't me." All right, so moving right along. We have the scene in the market where the butcher says something really crass to Lady Murasaki, and this really pisses Hannibal off, and his temper starts to get a little out of control. In the movie, it's watered down quite a bit. They just have a little scuffle, and the security guards break it up, and we think they put it behind them, but obviously not. In the book, he just becomes instantly enraged, and he just pounces on him like an angry little 13-year-old boy would. He just beats him over the head with part of an animal carcass and shoves turkey gizzards in his face. The police take him away and have a little come to Jesus with him in a holding cell, and they hope that's the end of it. Then everything from there on out, every exchange between Hannibal and Lady Murasaki and the detective And all his actions of revenge against those rogue Nazis as he finds them are all the same, down to the last detail. And then one scene, just before it all finally comes to a head, is that little snippet of almost seduction by Lady Murasaki onto, a still very young Hannibal. What happens in the book is it would have been it's rated R anyway, but she really does offer herself to him completely in the book. They water it down to just a kiss in the movie, I guess, to cut out the element of kind of incest, because she acted as a mother figure to him in the beginning. And that's pretty much the end of that part. And it ends the same. He finds out the hard way in his final act of revenge that, in a very, very weakened and, lightheaded, almost delirious state, he did too sample a little bit of his sister's body because he was almost dying. And that pushes him over the edge in both book and movie, is that is what does it. That's what cracks him and makes him the beast he is in Red Dragon and Silence of the Lambs and Hannibal. And he finishes off all his enemies. He loses Lady Murasaki. He moves on to America, goes to medical school, and the rest, as we know, Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon, Hannibal, is history. And now that Hannibal has risen, I thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like and follow on Instagram, all that fun stuff. And I'll see you next time.